So James, the format here is I'm going to talk to him for about 5 minutes. And then I'm going to pass it over to you, and then you're going to pass it back to me when we're done.
Cool. Sounds good, Matt.
All right, let me figure out how I'm going to do that.
Let me get all the incriminating stuff off my screen if I share.
Yeah, we are live.
Get the porn off the screen.
Yes, yeah. This is the final call for that removal. How's everybody doing in the chat? How you feeling about crypto today? Maybe we can get an emoji. How you feeling? What you doing? Hey, Zyrus44, good to see you.
Oh, I'm in Udon Thani, as you know, and I'm heading 200 kilometers north of here into the deep dark of Isan.
Nice.
Some old guy out there has promised to teach me how to smoke meats.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to learn how to use a smoker.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
I think it involves a lot of patience, doesn't it? Like smoking meats is mostly patience, and drinking beer while you do it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't think I'll be drinking any beer today. That's for damn sure.
In that part of the country, there's a lot of Cambodian dark magic. You've got to be careful.
Well, I enlisted the help of some monks with some dark magic the other day. We're gonna need some help on our new FinRev project. So I got them to go through the amulet room at the local WAT and find some amulets of there's a guy they make amulets of him. He's a patron saint of gamblers. And they're blessed by good Buddhist monks, and they've got little dice in them. It's like one with a tiger with a mouthful of dice, and another with just like a couple of dice in there, and another with a devil with a little ruby in the devil's tail. And the monks have blessed our gambling effort.
Incredible.
We can't fail now.
Incredible.
Well, that means we can't lose, right?
According to science and religion.
Okay, cool. We've got all the bases covered.
We've got all the bases covered, and it was touching too. They just take it so seriously, and they're like, oh, there's three of you, and that's very auspicious because we've got three of these gambling amulets, and let's get three of the boys together, and we'll all three of us pray over these amulets in Pali language, and they bless the fuck out of them. And
awesome. Well, we will take all of the luck and blessing.
Yeah, so don't worry, you're really lucky now. And these
Cool.
particular amulets, if you walk into the Macau casino wearing one, they ban you.
Is that true?
It's true.
It's true. Wow. There you go.
Yeah.
So we got
you gotta give the casino some chance, dude. All right, let's get it going. So HyperTrend, am I on the first page? HyperTrend protocol is a 4-stage plan. So the stages are we launch the vault, which is essentially taking FinRev to the hyperliquid blockchain with a better version of FinRev. We run a points program. And while we run the points program, all of our existing users get points in the new program. Stage 3 is we airdrop 32% of supply at our $100 million launch valuation to those users. So we're going to split $32 million up between all of our existing FinRev users and whoever else wants to join the vault. But the existing FinRev users are going to get a jump on it. And then stage 4 is we open up our technology to other people who want to launch DeFi hedge funds. And we've got several that we're talking to, and we give them our infrastructure and we give them our infrastructure, and they run their own signals, and they pay us in Trend token, which they have to buy on the open market. So it's going to make the price go up. So we partnered with one of the best HFT firms in DeFi. It's run literally by, he's the smartest guy I've ever met. James Hodges is the smartest guy you've ever met.
Yeah, he's incredibly impressive, isn't he? Like he's an incredibly impressive person.
I mean, when you met him, you told me you've been dealing with market makers and market maths nerds for 30 years, and he was Like, the
Yeah,
best.
he's incredibly thoughtful. He's incredibly practical. He's very pragmatic. He's the best guy we could have on board.
Yeah, the best in the world on this. And he's a super artist,
Yeah.
man type. He's got the dress. He's got this incredibly poor dress sense that only an artist could have. He wears like
Have,
purple shirts
have
with
you ever
Crocs.
seen him not wearing Crocs?
Yeah,
Like he's literally wearing Crocs every time I see him.
yeah, with like a Versace shirt with Crocs, and he's got a good porn stash. Yeah, he's a wonderful guy. Wonderful guy. So this really, really changes the game for us. So right now we execute once a day. And that's okay for trend and carry, and because those are relatively uncompetitive games, and they're uncompetitive games for a reason. They're uncompetitive because they kind of suck. Like, you're not winning every day. Like, you kind of you win on average, but they're not perfect games. So right now we're limited to uncompetitive trading games. And these are pretty good. Like, they definitely make money. They're definitely safe ways of making money, but there are better trades out there. And we just always assume, James and I, that we're kind of street quants, and we weren't good enough to do that, and we weren't able to compete against the best guys in the world. Except now that we've got HFT execution, we can actually go toe to toe with the heavyweights. So James can quant out all these edges that we had no hope of running before. And it opens up all this super pro stuff that we never even dreamed of being able to compete on. And the reason for this is because attractive trades are attractive to big firms filled with smart people, and most of them are smarter than us. So in a minute, I'm going to hand you over to our very own robot, James. For those of you who haven't met him, he's one of my best friends. He's a wonderful guy. Almost everything that sounds smart that you've heard from me, I learned from him. He's a literal astrophysicist, like a lot of the best quants are. But before that, I just want to say a quick couple of words about the market structure and the price action right now. So let's take a quick look at what's going on. The big news is that Ethereum is finally getting a pump, and Bitcoin is high. It's at $120,000, but you can see that Bitcoin has not made a new high, whereas Ethereum has made a new high. Now, if we look at that historically, that's been a top signal. You can see it here. Ethereum made a new high, whereas Bitcoin didn't. It's been a top signal way back here. Ethereum made a new high, Bitcoin didn't. So the two of them diverging and kind of changing places, because for the whole of the last two years, Bitcoin's been kicking Ethereum's ass. Ethereum's been an embarrassment. This is Bitcoin, this is Ethereum. Now all of a sudden the table's turned. So this is a very strange market dynamic, and it's one that I think warrants a bit of caution. Now, if we start adding some other coins in, this is off the recent lows. If we add Solana, doing about as well as Bitcoin, but what I want to show you is, let's add some crap coins. So in the chat, has anyone got any like really, really crap coins? Like Litecoin is the obvious one. That's Pepe. Yeah, okay. So let's add in a few of those ones. Pepe. You can see it's beating Bitcoin. Retardio. Doing pretty well. Pepe. I mean, we've got a situation where we've got all these trash coins, and all of a sudden here, all these trash coins like Litecoin are starting to outperform Bitcoin. And this is something that we often see at market tops, where investors aren't getting enough are feeling very safe about Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then they're taking their winnings and putting it into riskier and riskier and riskier and riskier bets. And so what we're seeing is the money in riskier bets. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. That doesn't mean the bull market's over or anything, or we're topping. What it does mean is that the market is a little bit vulnerable. And by vulnerable, I'd just like you to look at Bitcoin for a second. So what I've got here, let's make it a daily chart. This bottom panel here is funding rate, which is the desire for long leverage. When people want to pay when people want lots of leverage, they're willing to pay for it. And you can see that here, when things get excessive, that's usually when major tops happen. So where are we? We've got desire for leverage is definitely rising. You can see it's definitely going up. It's not an extreme, but it's, you know, it's like roughly where it was here, where it was like a harbinger of a pullback. So for me, the risk reward of being super long here isn't there. Even though our systems are long, even though like we're making lots of money being long, if you're a discretionary trader, my advice is to take a little bit of money off the table. And this is our open interest, which is the number of leverage bets on the table. And you can see it's at a high for the last year. So when there's a lot of leverage, a lot of gambling going on, a lot of excitement, a lot of news, a lot of, you know, they're talking about Bitcoin on CNBC again. That's usually the time that you just want to be a bit careful and cautious. And that's all I'll say about that. At the moment, I would be very careful about leverage bets. I would not want to run any leverage in your discretionary accounts. If you've got some big profits, I'm taking a little bit of profits in Hype. I'm taking about a third of my stack in Hype. I've taken about half the profits I want to take, and the rest I'll take over the next couple of days. I think it's a nice point to take some profits and have some dry powder. It's just my basic point. Now I'm going to hand it over to James, who's done some amazing stuff, and I'm really excited to see it.
Cool, thanks, Scott. Can you see my screen?
Can.
You should be able to see a lot of white and some black text. So I just wanted to kind of share with you guys what I've been doing. My job effectively here is to take advantage of some constraints being lifted with HyperTrend and some new opportunities that we have, and build some better trading models than the ones that currently exist in FinRev. So I just want to take you through why that is possible, some background, and kind of, you know, give you a bit of insight into what we're doing. FinRev is basically set up as a very effective way to harness trend effects in crypto. So trend following is an incredibly robust thing. It works nearly everywhere. It works in nearly every single asset class. It's worked since kind of we have price data, and it continues to work in inverted commas nearly everywhere. I say work in inverted commas because if you just decided to pick one asset like gold or Ethereum or Bitcoin or something like that and run a trend following model on that, it's probably going to look very average. Like, even though everything trends a bit, it doesn't trend very hard. So if you're trying to do a trend following strategy, it's very, very difficult to do it yourself because you've got to trade a lot of stuff in order to harness that effect. Any one thing just doesn't really trend very much. So we have to trade a whole load of stuff. All the sort of zigs and zags kind of offset each other, and we end up over time harnessing a trend effect in a pretty noisy way. So, you know, this is a thing that works nearly everywhere, and it's a thing that works especially well in crypto, being a relatively young, relatively inefficient market. Now, you probably can't do this yourself, or certainly I wouldn't recommend you do this yourself because it's it's a shitload of effort. But FinRev does this for you. It does the kind of technically hard bit. And the strategy is technically hard, but it's also kind of hard to get wrong. The core idea is just if stuff's going up, it's more likely to keep going up. If stuff is going down, it's very slightly more likely to keep going down. And you'll find that that strategy is pretty robust to however you decide to do that. You could just be buying new highs, selling new lows, or you could do the kind of sophisticated stuff that happens in FinRev. Either way, if you can do it at scale, you're going to get roughly the same result. Your FinRev result is going to be better than if you were just buying new highs, but ultimately they're going to be making money at about the same time, and they're going to be flat at about the same time. So trend following is super robust, and that's why we can get away with some of the things that we get away with in FinRev. FinRev trades once a day, and it trades in siloed customer accounts, and it trades over a relatively short period each day. Now, that is absolutely fine. That is appropriate for harnessing slow effects like trend and also momentum and carry, which are in the FinRev models now. But it kind of cuts us off from some other stuff. And what we end up having when we're running these trend models is this kind of idiosyncratic return profile, which every trend following system kind of looks like this, where it can go nowhere for a long period of time, and then suddenly the market dynamics are attractive to trend following. We either have some kind of rampant bull market or some kind of panic, and those environments tend to be very good for trend following, and we burst up. So we have this kind of make loads of money really quickly, then sort of go nowhere for a long time or bleed a bit, and then make money really quickly profile. And this can be, this is not necessarily an unattractive profile because you don't tend to lose lots of money very quickly over an extended period of time, but it can be emotionally hard to stay with something. Right? It can be emotionally hard to stay with trend following when it's not doing anything, especially when other things are making money at the same time. Now, if we're trying to design a portfolio that makes money in lots of different environments, then what we ideally want to do is just have a lot of different shit in that portfolio. If trend following is in one of these periods where it's not making money, it would be ideal to have some completely different edges, some completely different source of returns or different trading strategies in the portfolio at the same time. That way, if trend isn't making money, it's quite likely that something else will. So all things being equal, what we would like to do is have as much different stuff trading as possible. Now, that is hard technically, and it is also hard because we need to be good at execution. We need to have cheap costs if we're going to trade this kind of stuff. So there are things like this. This is just something I pulled out from the models that are going into HyperTrend. This is a volume-based signal that is essentially a short-term trading signal, which has this kind of nice profile where it's making money most of the time. But this would be very, very hard for us to exploit in FinRev because FinRev only trades once a day, and it trades in pooled customer accounts where you have relatively high costs and you have a whole bunch of orders competing with each other across customers. Now we can do this. We can't do this in FinRev, but we can do this in HyperTrend. One of the reasons we can do this is because within the HyperTrend trading model, we can make decisions as often as we want. Now, if we have a trading signal like the trend signals that are in FinRev, pretty much the good bit of that trading signal is always in the period immediately after you've just noticed that in the market. So you'll find, if you took one of our trend signals and you took it and you said, hey, look, what are the returns of of this asset, let's say it's Ripple or something, Ripple has a high trend score. We see, in the first hour, say, after that signal, our expected returns are going to be pretty high. But that, if nothing else happens, that decays over time because now new stuff is happening in the market that we are ignoring, right? So we expect our signals to be better in the hour after we've observed them than they would be a day after, or 2 days after, or 6 hours. So all things being equal, if we can have a trading system that makes trading decisions more often through the day and is also sort of smart and aware of costs to trade and things like that, then we are in a better position to harness more different types of edges. We also, in a HyperTrend setup, have the advantage of not having to trade in customer accounts. It will be a pool of capital that will trade as a singular pool of capital. That means we won't have customer orders, customer trades competing and crossing over with each other. It also means that we'll be on the best cost tiers, will be on the VIP tiers for things. And it also means that we can have other people doing our execution for us. And as Scott said, we have partnered with James from Deep Forest Research. He's one of the best guys that I know for this stuff. And he runs essentially liquidity providing bots, sort of market maker bots, as well as doing very short-term arbitrage trades in the market. Now, these things are not the kind of things that are going to make us money. We'll never be able to trade hundreds of millions of dollars on that kind of thing. But we can use his algorithms and his high frequency trading signals in order to get better prices on the positions that we are trying to move into with our trading programs. So you can think of it like I'm going to be creating the positional trading models that are, we're trying to be in positions and kind of trade and turn over in sort of hours and days. But our outsourced execution from DFR is using very short-term trading signals to try and get us the best prices when we're trading towards those positions or trading out of those positions. And that sounds really complicated, but it's not really. Like, it's pretty simple. So we would say, hey, we would like over the next hour to be trading into X amount of Ethereum. And we would just look to be, and our execution partner would just look to be opportunistic about trading into that for us. If he's going, we need to trade into a position over an hour. So he's probably going to quote to start with so that we're putting some offers in the book and seeing if someone wants to trade with us. And he's probably doing something like this, where he's looking for a time when it's attractive to trade. So if you imagine the price of, say, let's say it's Ethereum, just for the sake of things. Imagine the price of Ethereum on Binance is this black line here. And what sometimes will happen on crypto venues, because Ethereum trades in a whole load of different places at the same time, it's not always the same price everywhere. Sometimes someone will come and they'll just want a lot of Ethereum and they're prepared to pay too much for it on Hyperliquid, say. What that's going to do is that's going to push the Hyperliquid price up higher than it should be, all things being equal, if this guy wasn't being a bit of a donkey over here pushing the price up. Now, what that would mean, if we were in a position where we needed to cut our position over the next hour in Ethereum, then our trading partners would realize that this was a great time to aggressively sell our Ethereum position, right? Because he's seeing, well, this should be trading here, but it's trading here. You want to cut your position, so I'm going to be very aggressive at taking it off at prices that we can get off. And those kind of smarts are why we're confident that our trading costs are going to be reduced, and why we can trade some edges that we weren't able to trade before within FinRev, where we had a much simpler execution model and we were only making decisions once a day. So HyperTrend is going to be making decisions nearly all the time, and it's also going to outsource the actual trading to our market maker high frequency trading partners. So my job is effectively to say, hey, look, these are the long-term or long or medium-term positions that we want to sit in. And I'm talking medium-term in sort of hours, days, long-term in kind of weeks. And then our execution partners will try and get us the best price on those trades. So they're balancing, how quickly do we want to get into this versus can I pick some short-term attractive prices and get aggressive at trading on those for us. So this is kind of what the models are going to look like. So the first thing we do is we go, hey, look, what is really easy? What do we know works, even if it doesn't kind of blow the lights out, even if it's kind of gonna grind for the odd 6 months or something like that. And we know that the stuff in FinRev is like that. Right? We know that the medium frequency trend following momentum carry stuff is certainly not going to make money every month or even every 6 months, right? But we're very confident that stuff worked in every single market that we know about, basically. And we're very confident that that stuff has worked and will continue to work slightly better in crypto than anything else. So always when we're doing this, we're going, hey, look, what is the highest probability way of making money, even if we're wrong? Even if we don't do it very well, even if the market structure changes, even if Trump does something insane that we can't possibly predict, what can we do that is very, very likely to make money? And that's basically looks very similar to the FinRev models. Now what we do is you can sort of think of this as a pyramid, right? That can sort of be the base where we go, what is the easiest way we know to make money riskily at scale? Well, that's trend, that's momentum, that's carry, that's the basic stuff. Then we look to sort of layer things on top of that, because we just want to add as much stuff as we feasibly can into the trading models, so that in the environments where this stuff isn't making money, it's likely that something else will be, and we can try and smooth our return profile as much as possible. So the first and obvious thing that we do, and this is my first mission around here, is to go, well, hey, look, we know that trend and momentum work long-term, medium-term, and short-term. Now, in FinRev, we can only really trade medium and long-term because it's historically been too expensive for us to run short-term momentum models. But in the HyperTrend world, that's not true anymore. We think we can harness short-term trend and momentum signals, and those look very good. In fact, those we could almost stop at that point, right? These look so good, we can almost stop at that point, and we could go, well, HyperTrend is a set of trend and momentum models at medium frequency and short frequency. But we don't have to stop at that point, because there's a whole load of stuff we can derive from similar data that also works really well. And one of them, I'll show you this later, is just very, very simple. One of them is the fact that in crypto, volume, the amount of trading activity is very predictive of future returns. Broadly speaking, if more stuff's happening, something is more likely to be going up. If something is dying, it's likely to be sinking down. So there are some signals that we can generate simply from volume, but also from, is a trade an aggressive buy or is it an aggressive sell? And we can infer stuff about price. The other thing we can add in is a very nice complement to trend models, which is short-term reversal. And I'm sure you've seen this if you look at a chart, that occasionally you kind of get the scam pattern of just sort of green candle, green candle, green candle, green candle, green candle, green candle, green candle. At some point, the more that you've kind of had some sort of streak of runs all in the same direction, the more likely it is to revert. And we also see this in our trend models. When we see very, very extreme numbers in our trend models, we see slightly more likely to revert. There are some stuff that's, you know, a bit smarter, where we go, well, hey, look, there are predictable patterns of buying and selling in certain tokens. So we look at Hype, we'll look at Bitcoin, look at Ethereum, things like that. And things like flows into the ETFs, things like big TWAPs, things like predictable moves from big wallets, other sort of supply demand imbalances we look to get in front of. So if we know that a lot of buying is happening, to buy before it. If there's a lot of selling is happening, we'll look to sell before it. And then essentially trade out of that position as the thing we predicted is happening. The other thing, this is slightly more marginal, but the other thing is we found is that a whole load of stuff that used to work in stocks in the 90s and 2000s still kind of works in crypto. So it doesn't, you know, it doesn't work that well, but the stuff doesn't need to work that well by itself. The thing we're doing here is we're just kind of taking a maximalist approach, where as long as we have something that works okay, it's probably a good idea to throw it in our trading model, because we increase the chances of something working at any one time, which is ultimately what we're trying to do. Right? We don't necessarily want that kind of fly and go nowhere for 6 months and then shoot up profile. We would like to be making money most of the time if we can. And then finally, Scott and I have some friends that for whatever reason like us, and tend to tell us things that work. So there will be some stuff in there which is just shamelessly stolen from our friends who are much smarter. Now, obviously, we cannot talk about that, but there will be some of that in there. So here's just an example of a new thing that's going to go, that will go in there in its sort of raw format. This was a bit of research I was doing last week, maybe this week, which is just a quantification of that idea that if more activity is happening in a token, if more trading is happening in a token, that token is more likely to go up. So we've quantified essentially the relative amount of volume that's been recently happening in a token versus the amount of volume that has been happening, say, over a period about 4 or 5 times longer. So, you know, we're saying, hey, look, over the last day, say, have we had more volume than over the last 5 days or over the last week? And we can plot them. So all of our models look like this, right? We kind of essentially get an idea like that. Then we quantify it in a number that's quantified that goes from low to high, right? And what we hope is that when our number is high, in this case, that would mean there's been more trading volume, say, over the last day than there has over the last 5. Then we can see that our next day expected returns are pretty high, right? I mean, this is up to 3% because it's crypto and everything's super volatile. But what we see is, you know, when relative volume has been high, our expected next day returns are really high. When relative volume has been low, our expected next day returns are negative. So what we would do is we would throw this kind of thing in the trading melting pot, along with everything else, along with the trend and the momentum and the carry models and the flow models and things like that. But we can also kind of simulate what it would look like traded by itself. So this is kind of just a rough finger in the air simulation of a strategy that would just be long all of the perps where a whole load of volume had happened recently, and it would be short all of the perps where basically nothing had been happening, where they're dying. Okay, you know, the basic idea here, I think you all know from trading crypto, is pretty intuitive, right? You know, people tend to go where the hot potato is. People tend to go where the action is, and that's where things get bid up. So I think this is a really good signal. It's a really interesting signal. We couldn't get away with trading it in FinRev, but we will do in the new world. And we have a whole load of things up our sleeve for this. And some of those, like, I mean, this one isn't a particularly smart one. Some of these we can kind of show you. Some of them will kind of have to be a little bit more opaque around, because we don't want our own edges being eroded by other people trading them. So to summarize this stuff, HyperTrend is sort of a world which is free of some of the constraints of the FinRev model, especially the segregated customer accounts, which were stopping us from doing things like this when we would quite like to do things like this. We also have execution via people who are really good at high frequency trading. So that means that we can trade more stuff. If we can trade more stuff and we can do it well, it means we're more likely to make money at any given time. This, if I do it well, will give you a much more comfortable return profile. So I know the FinRev return profile is difficult because you can go a year, right, without making money. That is completely reasonable and expected in a trend following model, but it's not necessarily easy to do. So to the extent that we can trade this stuff well, we can set up the technology, we can set up the partnerships and do this stuff well, that should result in a bit more of a kind of easy or emotionally less difficult time watching these trading models run. And basically the idea there is, if one thing isn't working and you're trading 10 different things, something probably will. Right? So we just increase the likelihood of making money over time. So that's my job. We've got some great people on the team. We've already got some good models, most of which we shamelessly stole off our friends. Some of which are unique, but there's a fair bit of work to put it all together. But like Scott and I are really confident that we're gonna make something really good here.
Amazing, dude. Amazing. Is there any questions on this stuff? In the chat?
Nice. We've been addressing questions in the text chat as we've been going.
Yeah. So this will be. So there's essentially what we need to do is we need to get the infrastructure to trade complete and tested and running on kind of small amounts of capital. From that point, when we're actually trading, it's iterative, right? We're not going to go live with every single thing that I talked about there. We will go live with trend, momentum, carry, and short-term momentum first, and then we will add extra things in. So it'll look like just like your experience with FinRev, but much quicker.
Any idea what kind of Sharpe ratio we're looking at?
It'll be over 2.
Yeah, I think it's definitely over 2, right?
Yeah.
How far over 2 depends on luck, really.
Yeah, I mean, in the short term, even at Sharpe 2, in the short term, anything can happen. So we will kind of pray to all the relevant gods and maybe get some more voodoo on our side, because we would very much love to make money straight out of the gate. Right?
Oh,
That
it
would
makes
make
things
us.
so much easier.
It never happens, but that would make us so happy.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I might continue on and show you how to get involved in this, because I think you really should get involved. Not. So here's what's going on. We launch our fund on Hyperliquid with HFT execution October 1. We're hoping to get it all done by September 1 and spend a month getting it audited, because we don't want our smart contract hacked. And yeah, we've got to have the best auditors auditing. Then we start a points program. Excuse me, sorry. I've got a little bit of a cold today. We give points to existing customers and those who transfer to the Hyper EVM. Now, the first month, all of our existing FinRev customers get all of the points. So you get points for having an existing FinRev account. You get points for switching, and in the first month, you get the way that the points work is there's 1 million points split up over 6 months. We might call it earlier than 6 months. And then those 1 million points are spread equally between the people who are depositing according to how much they're depositing. And then we have bonuses and multipliers. We have bonuses, extra money for people who are FinRev customers. We have multipliers for people who are on the leaderboard. If you're in the top 10, if you're in the top 10 of points, you get triple points. If you are from 10 to 20, you get 2.5. If you're from 20 to 30, you get double points. If you refer any of your friends, you get a ref code and you get 1/4 of the points that they earn. What else have we got? If you received a top 5% of Hype Airdrop, we give you some bonus points. And if you make a lot of transactions on the Hyper EVM, if you do a lot of stuff on the new Hyperliquid blockchain, we're also going to give you a bonus. But that won't be most of you. At what's called token generation event, which we're aiming for March next year. We might do it earlier if the market is really pumping. We convert all of your points into tokens, and the tokens are going to be 32% of the total supply at $100 million launch valuation, which we're certain of now. That's going to be $32 million split up between you all. So roughly, even though I'm highly confident that HyperTrend will make money, the real gift is the point system. The point system is what you don't want to miss out on. The point system is going to be a big deal. It's going to be, it's Hyperliquid did 31% of supply for Hype. We're doing 32%. It's going to be a life-changing airdrop. It's not going to be one of those bullshit airdrops. And why can we make it life-changing? Because it's very difficult to scam. You actually have to put money into it. You can't just like farm it. You can't just log in, click a few buttons every day, and then do that again tomorrow. So because of that, we can afford to be very generous because we think our users are going to be sticky, and we want to create a community, get the supply in the hands of the people who are actually using the product. The most successful products of this cycle didn't start with a token. Hyperliquid Exchange is a no KYC DeFi exchange that is better than Binance. Everyone who uses it says it's better than Binance. It's got no hassles. It's got no stupid rules. And, Pump Fun is the other standout success of the cycle. It allowed anyone to launch a meme coin. They launched their token just last week. They launched their token after they'd made a pile of money. And Hyperliquid launched their token after they made a pile of money. So that's what we want to do. We want to launch our token after we've made a pile of money for everyone. So HyperTrend protocol, it's kind of like the pump fund of hedge funds on the Hyperliquid blockchain. It lets anyone start their own hedge fund. Now, Hyperliquid is taking market share off the centralized exchanges. This is the 6-month view of Hyperliquid market share. You can see that, since the start of May, it's doubled its market share, right? Like it's doubled its market share since May in 3 months, and it doesn't look like it's stopping, and it's doing it equally off Binance, Bybit, and OKX. It's just better. People use it once and they go, I don't want to use Binance anymore. And that's been my experience. Yes, it's actually happening. These are exciting times. So what today's all about is how you can get your share airdrop to you and why just holding trend will pay you in USDC. And this is the $1 billion play, because most altcoin tokens pay you in some dodgy altcoin. We will pay you in USDC. And that's a very big deal because now you've got an income stream that you can actually live off, because you can't really, the only way to live off some altcoin is to sell it. And I'm engineering Trend from the ground up to make the price go up. And we've got a number of very innovative mechanisms built into the tokenomics rules that we call number go up tokenomics that are going to pump this thing like you wouldn't believe. It's shamelessly and explicitly built to be a token that pumps. This is not about the tech, guys. This is about the pump. We're going to just pump this thing to several $1 billion, take you all on a life-changing wealth ride. And yeah, it's going to make some of our community millionaires. So stick around. If you're new here, I'm Scott Phillips. This is me. I'm the gorilla. That's my lovely family. I've been a professional trader for 20 years. I started in TradFi, trained under billionaire traders like Ed Secoda, who's kind of a dick. I've been in crypto a long time. I bought Bitcoin when it was $4. I sold it for $21, like an idiot. And the previous bull run, I turned 440K account into 770. Then last year, I took this challenge, the 5K challenge, and we were trying to turn 5K into $1 million in a year. We actually did that, did 5K into $1.3 million. So I'm like, when it comes to gambling, I'm kind of a good gambler. The most successful crypto launch of all time was Hype. They didn't take any VC money, so there was plenty of spare money to share around, and they shared it in the most generous way ever. And they had a killer app with product market fit, which actually made money, which is pretty much what we've got. We've got a killer app, makes lots of money, everyone likes it. They built the product first and launched the coin at the perfect time when the market was pumping, and we want to do the same. So they had a big vision, which was the highest performance blockchain built for finance, but a killer app with product market fit. So I'm going to borrow their proven playbook and make us all rich. Here's how. We place our new mid-frequency systems on the Hype EVM blockchain as a vault. We use the layer 0 token standard to make it purchasable on every chain. So you can buy it on Solana, you can buy it on Ethereum, you can buy it on HyperEVM. You don't have to do any of that bridging bullshit. And instead of having thousands of retail accounts with high retail fees, we have one account with tiny fees, which makes it easier operationally and improves our costs. And like James talked about, it opens up things that we couldn't do before. We partnered with Dark Forest Technology. Now we're market makers. So Trend Token receives 20% of the profits of FinRev members in USDC. Now, this is built into the smart contract. It can't be cheated. So the Trend token holders get that money. Now, the approximate tokenomics, I think these are finalized, but don't 100% hold me to them, is a 32% token generation event airdrop. We've got 10% time-based vesting on the team, which is very low. And we've got 15% incentive-based vesting on the team to keep improving the system. So what I mean is, trading systems are not really set and forget type things. There's no universe where you can just come up with a set of rules and then just sit back, relax, and 20 years later it's still working. Like, we're in a competitive game and we have to stay on top of our game. So the 15% of team-based tokens are for them hitting rolling sharp targets, 6-month rolling sharp targets of 2.0 or above after fees. So for those of you who don't know, a sharp ratio of 2.0 is the sharp ratio of Renaissance Technologies, who are the best hedge fund ever to do it, ever. And the team only gets paid if they hit that mark over a 6-month period. We've set aside 5% for market makers, 5% for partnerships, which is a nice way of saying exchange listing bribes. We've got 15% for a foundation. Now, foundation is like a prudent reserve. If something goes wrong, if we get hacked, God forbid, if something happens and we have to reimburse people, it's nice to have some of it sitting there. And we've got 18% set aside for a fair launch at token generation event. So this fair launch won't happen until after the airdrop. There's no VCs involved. There's no institutional investors involved. Anyone can participate. And yeah, it's going to be at token generation event. So what's the difference between this and 1,000 other shitcoins? They all want you to accept payouts in their own coin. This is the first token to pay out in USDC. So it has a real world income with no KYC. It's a coin that pays you US dollars to own. And how will Trend pay USDC to the holders of the token? It's the same concept as a dividend paying stock, except more profitable because it's crypto. If there's a business or technology that generates real revenue, not just some bullshit Ponzi where you earn coins from staking and like not some bullshit, something that actually makes money, then that money can be paid out to users. In other words, it's going to be the first ever crypto coin that doesn't pay you in magic beans. It doesn't pay you in some old coin that's going to die next cycle. It pays you in cold hard cash. We're making a forever asset. We're making a coin that you never have to sell. For the members who already know or use our automated trading tech, the good stuff on how you can get more trend tokens is coming up soon. So the trend token sits on top of HyperTrend, which is replacing FinRev, shares out a piece of the profits from the trading it executes in USDC, like a dividend, but paid in USDC, right to your wallet. So the more trend tokens you hold, the bigger your share. And this creates a value accruing flywheel effect for the token. It's how we're going to launch at $100 million valuation and how we're going to grow trend into a $1 billion token very, very quickly. More users will stake the trend token to get bigger allocations of the USDC dividends, which gets paid out as FinRev trades automatically day to day. So every day that HyperTrend is making money, those dividends are going in. Now, this constrains the supply side of the token, which creates scarcity for the trend token to rise in price. And again, this is only possible because Trend sits on top of FinRev technology and it can pay out USDC out of revenues generated. In short, Trend is the first ever crypto token that won't pay out in magic beans. It pays out in cold hard cash. And this makes it an extremely desirable token to purchase. Buy pressure raises the coin price, makes the number go up. It's desirable to hold because you get a rebate on trading fees for holding Trend, which reduces selling pressure and increases the scarcity of the coin. We're building out large partnerships with the biggest crypto exchanges, market makers, and firms and we're going to use all the tricks in the book to ensure a smooth, high valuation. It's going to be a $100 million listing. We were thinking about doing it at 150, but we've decided to go with 100 just to take everyone on a wealth creation journey. All this value gets accrued straight into the coin, which you can get your share of Trend airdrop today. There's $32 million worth of Trend being shared between all of the people on this webinar right now. Okay, this stuff we've all covered. So what part do you play in this? So every one of you that has spent money with my company over the last few years, I owe you. I owe you big. We got no VC money. We got no investors. We're not beholden to anyone. No one would ever let a guy like me run a big company like I am. So you guys helped me bootstrap FinRev to where it is today. So here's how I pay you back. For both new members who are joining us today and existing FinRev members, every dollar you spend on FinRev, I'm going to give you all your money back in Trend token as a gift. You also get exclusive access to the Trend Vault for the first month, and you get all of the first month points go to FinRev owners. We're not aiming. We're definitely doing $100 million valuation on launch at the moment. So, for example, if you paid $9,500 for FinRev Platinum, we launch our token. I'm going to airdrop $9,500 worth of Trend straight into your wallet. If you paid $6,500 for FinRev Gold, I'm going to airdrop $6,500 worth of Trend for you. Why? Because you trusted me to help you build wealth, and you signed up for FinRev. And all of this means I never had to take a dollar from VCs or investors. I'm not beholden to any of those exit liquidity assholes. We bootstrapped this whole thing with your help, and because this entire token is designed to accrue value. It's designed to number go up. It's designed from the ground up to make the number go up. If you hold on to your airdrop, whether that's 9,500 or 6,500 worth of Trend tokens, you not only get paid USDC for your share of the tokens, that valuation could easily 10x as we grow Trend to $1 billion market cap. But there's more. You get extra points for switching your capital to the Hyperliquid EVM Vault. You get extra points for referring friends. You get extra points for allocating more capital. You get extra points if you've been involved for a long time. And this isn't finalized yet. We've got a few more extra point things which are a bit nerdy. So we're talking about I've looked at the initial list, and there's a handful of guys that we know are looking at $50,000 to $100,000 airdrops here. I know Dave Campbell and Cam Robinson are both two that stuck out for me, that are definitely in the $50,000 to $100,000 range. It's yours for free. It's just for using FinRev to grow your wealth. So what about our members who haven't signed up for FinRev yet? Good news for you is if you book a call and sign up for FinRev before the 25th of July, which is next Friday, Our back-end system is going to tag your account. You'll be reserved to get an extra $500 in Trend token when we launch. So not only do you get a 1-for-1 airdrop of Trend token for whatever you paid for FinRev, you also get an extra $500 worth of Trend on top of this if you sign up before the 25th of July. So what about existing FinRev users? You get Trend just for supporting us. You get extra Trend if you deposit to the new vault. You get extra Trend if you refer friends. You get 25% of their points. We've got a leaderboard with a points multiplier for the top 30. The first month of points is just for existing users. The top 5% of Hype Airdrop, you get a boost if you're in the top 5% of Hyperliquid Airdrop, or you have a large volume of transactions on the Hyper EVM. So nobody's missing out. And as long as you make sure you're a FinRev Gold or Platinum user before the 25th of July, my goal for you here is the ability to do whatever you want, wherever you want, with whoever you want, for as long as you want. I want you to be free, completely free. And money is just a tool to buy time and freedom. Compounding does the work here. So HyperTrend, FinRev, this is the vehicle to get you to financial freedom. And it's really it's really been a great honor to work for the people in this community. Like James is doing the best work of his life, and he's been quanting for nearly 30 years now. I'm doing the best work of my life. Everyone in the company is working with a singular goal. Ian's working his ass off. Caroline, all the coaches, we're all working our ass off to make this happen. I'm grinding like an animal every day for this community. I want us all to have generational wealth, and there's no way for me to get it unless I make you all rich. So here's the deal. We have 2 tiers of FinRev available for you today. We have FinRev Gold, which is $6,500 for 3 years of fully automated trend following trading. We have FinRev Platinum, which is $9,500 for 3 years of fully automated trading with all our systems, including future upgrades. What's the difference between? So let's start with FinRev Gold. Now, don't sleep on FinRev Gold. It's the one I personally like. Its drawdowns are a little bit bigger than FinRev Platinum, but it goes pretty hard. You can run it at very high risk targets. You get for $6,500 for 3 years. You get 3 years of automated algorithmic trading with FinRev. You get a 1-to-1 trend airdrop worth $6,500 at the time of coin listing. That should read 25th of July. You're going to get an extra $500 airdrop totaling 7,000. You get a VIP onboarding with one of our expert crypto trader coaches. Comprehensive statistics and monitoring. Like, we've got beautiful dashboards. You can delay, starting, or pause at any time. So let's say you see some shit coin that you think is going to 10x. You can just pause, dump your money in the shit coin, hit the jackpot, pull it back in. We've got a double your money guarantee. If you aren't in profit after your first 12 months using the system, we'll let you use it for free until you've doubled your money. FinRev.trade/call. That's what you should do right now. Unless you want FinRev Platinum, which is our top of the line product. It's $9,500 for 3 years. It's 3 years of fully automated algorithmic trading using trend, momentum, and carry, which work very well together. It's got our VIP onboarding with one of our expert crypto trader coaches. You get the same 1-to-1 trend airdrop, this time worth $9,500 worth of trend. And we're going to give you an extra $500 airdrop if you do it in the next week. And the pro tip is this airdrop could easily 10x. Easily. We're starting at $100 million market cap, which is tiny for coins. We want to take everyone on a wealth creation journey, so we're growing it as fast as we can. FinRev Platinum is designed to generate higher returns than gold, and it uses more than just trend following. It blends multiple trading algorithms to find more profitable trades, which is why it provides higher returns. So you can get this and get more information from our onboarding team. It's not some sort of high pressure sales call. It's just our onboarding team at finrev.trade/call. They'll set you up. But one of the big advantages of FinRev Platinum is you get 3 accounts instead of 1 account. So you get to run them at different risk targets. So you can run one at crazy wild risk. You can have a safe account. You can have 2 separate accounts. You can set up a college account for your children. You can have what we call a degen account. Yeah, I know. Well, I have some money in a degen account, and I know Ian has some money in a degen account. We all kind of like doing things that are really a little bit silly. And you know, if you have your money in a high volatility FinRev account, when it goes, doesn't go very often, but when it goes, you can 20x your account. Yeah, so just for fun, our CTO put one of his side FinRev Platinum accounts at maximum volatility. It turned $225,000 into well, it's actually at 15,000 now. Yeah, it was crazy at the time. And then I saw what he did, and then I did it too, because I'm an idiot like he is. You can get this finrev.trade/call. And you are grandfathered into all the new systems, all the new stuff that James is quanting. You get the same double your money guarantee. If you aren't in profit after your first 12 months, we'll let you use it for free until you've doubled your money. And on security, just one thing quickly, FinRev can never withdraw your funds. It connects to your crypto exchange of choice through a secure API code. That means no one, not me, not any of my employees, not anyone else has access to your funds. We can trade, but we can't withdraw. Only you can withdraw or add funds. So what are you really getting today? You're getting access to the rapid wealth building engine that fully automates massive returns with crypto during bull and bear markets. Generated this insane cumulative return, like insane. So when you join FinRev Gold or Platinum today, it's going to build the path to financial freedom for you on autopilot. You don't have to do any thinking. You don't have to do any stuff. You just sit back and relax and collect the bag. Thanks to the profitable trading algorithms that it's built on. This means $1 million retirement is realistic for anyone who sticks with this for the long haul. And in addition to this, whatever you pay for FinRev today helps our customers bootstrap without outside investors and VCs, which is why I'm going to airdrop the same amount you paid today when we launched the Trend coin. If you join before 22nd of July, we're running the promo again, you're going to get an extra $500 Trend as a fast action bonus. So if you join FinRev Platinum for $9,500, you'll get $10,000 worth of Trend airdrop to you when we launch, and another $500 in USDT. In other words, by joining FinRev Gold or Platinum today, you not only start doubling your money every year, you also get back whatever you paid today in Trend tokens, and those Trend tokens pay you out again in USDC out of the profits FinRev generates just for holding the Trend coin. And I believe that now is a perfect time to get involved in trend following. You can see the volatility ticking up in the market. You can see the trend's been flat for 6 months previously. It's just starting to make money. I think it's the perfect time. This is the best deal I've ever offered, and I don't think anything's going to top it. So if you're new, book a call now. Join FinRev Gold or Platinum before the 25th of July. And if you're an existing FinRev customer, I just want to thank you. Hopefully you're as excited as all as we are. Because it's such a cool project, we've been able to attract some of the smartest people in the world are working with us and eager to work with us on this project. And yeah, if you're an existing FinRev Gold member, feel free to upgrade to Platinum. We upgrade your Trend airdrop accordingly, obviously. And ultimately, becoming a member of FinRev Gold or Platinum is the only way you're going to be eligible for the big Trend airdrop. And it's a thank you for helping us get where we are today. Okay, I'm going to give it back to Ian.
All right.
The questions.
I'm going to do the hands in the air. This is the basic kind of version of things. So a bunch of stuff that I've seen in the chat has, you know, been about, oh, is it this vault or is it that vault? So I thought I'd just run through a couple of the big things that are in play. We've got Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is an exchange. So if you are currently a FinRev member, you might be on the Bybit exchange, you might be on the BitGet exchange, you might be on the Binance exchange. So we're inviting you to move over to Hyperliquid. That means you'll be on Hyperliquid, you'll be in place, and then you'll move into the new vault. So that's a vault that we are creating. You could imagine it bolting on to Hyperliquid. So Hyperliquid is the exchange, and this new vault is going to bolt on. Now you're already on Hyperliquid if you've moved across from FinRev, woof, and then it's very easy. So that's the way that it works. Now the main coin millionaire vault, that's in a different galaxy. That's got nothing to do with, yes, it runs on Hyperliquid, but it's nothing to do with FinRev, and it's nothing to do with the new vault.
And it's just degenerate gambling, right? Like it's just me like doing absolutely.
Basically, It is, yeah. And yeah, I mean, what was it? I know we have to annualize the APR, but I think it was about close to 600%, maybe higher when I saw it last time. But anyway, to sidetrack from that, so those are the big things that are in play. So a lot of people have been saying, well, what's the point in getting platinum today? So just to reiterate what Scott went through, in addition to the $500 sign-up bonus that you're going to get one for one airdrop. So if you sign up for gold today for 6,500, you're going to get airdrop that 6,500. So it's like getting your money back. But more than that, when the group opens on October the 1st, I think Scott said there's another million coins that are going to be floating around that you've got a chance of accruing more. Like the first month
The
that the
first month
vault,
is just for you guys. So the first month is 32 million dollars worth of trend divided by 6. So what's that? You know,
I don't know.
I mean,
James.
we can do that math if we have to. We just choose not to.
But yeah. We don't need to. But basically,
It's about $4 million will split between FinRev members in the first month.
So
And
that
then,
first,
and we'll do it again, and then we'll do it again the next month, and the next month, and the next month. So we really are serious about rewarding the people who got us here. Dance with the one who brung you, and you guys brung us. Yeah, we're gonna make you all rich. Like that's just what we're gonna do. It's and we, I remember when I set up the company this way, our CFO Howard, I set it up. I said, man, we're gonna set it up so that the company is going to go broke if we don't make money for our customers. And he told me, Scott, that's financially irresponsible. You can't do that. And I'm like, fuck it, we're doing it anyway. And that's what we're doing it again. We're doing it again. I'll be broke if I don't make money for you guys. Putting every last cent. I'm backing myself. James is backing himself. We're backing ourselves. We've got the smartest people in the world. We've got a phenomenal idea. We've got the time is right. We've got that crazy orange man in the fucking White House. He's gonna turn the printing presses on, for fuck's sake. A lot of things need to go right, but there are a lot of things that are going right.
They are. Now, to put a little more meat on the bone as to what Scott just said there, here's an invite to the trend update group. So probably some people on the call are already in there. And in that group, there's two AMAs that you really want to watch. And then Scott goes into detail as to how it works for the team, how this wealth generation actually works. How is it that Scott just won't up and take all the money because of all of the checks and balances that we've put in place for this? And that's inside the trend update group. He goes into, honestly, answers all those kind of, well, couldn't you do this? Or what about that? Or amazing, those AMA sessions.
All right, guys. We've taken up enough of everyone's time. Thank you very much, James. We really appreciate your knowledge and appreciate you coming on. And everyone loves James. He's
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. I like talking to everyone and meeting everyone. It's been good.
That's an excessively comfortable looking cardigan you've got.
I know it is, isn't it? Do you want to give me a hug?
It kind of makes me want to give you a hug.
I know, right? It feels like I'm getting a hug as well. It's Auckland. It's despite the fact it's really sunny here. It's Auckland winter.
Looks excellent. All right, guys. We'll post the replay and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.